I guess 2024 is the year of serial killers and maybe nepotism. Because Trap, written and directed by the most controversial director in the last decade, M. Night Shyamalan, is a movie that, is one part serial killer cat and mouse, one part a concert trying to launch his daughter's career. Do those two mix and what does one disrupt the other? Let's talk about it. Cooper Adams taking his teenage daughter Riley to pop star Lady Raven's concert as a reward for her excellent grades. Notice the unusually high police presence around the concert venue. He learns from a vendor named Jamie that the FBI plans to catch a serial killer known as the Butcher at the venue with the knowledge that the Butcher's in attendance. M. Night Shyamalan as a director and a writer is known for taking big swings and making like grand twists that sometimes work and sometimes don't. What I thought was a breath of fresh air in this film is that he gave away what could have been a big twist if he wanted to in the trailers and in the premise so he could play this straight. This is one of the most conventional, straightforward M. Night Shyamalan films that we've got in a long time, and I really enjoyed that because we got to just see this cool premise play out instead of it being a secret, even though we kind of could guess it from the beginning. See, Trap is a cat and mouse crime thriller set from the mouse perspective, the serial killer's perspective, the whole movie. See, we've seen movies with protagonists, with people who do bad things. Sometimes they are serial killers themselves. They have to really put on a really great performance for us to enjoy that character. Very charismatic, have likable traits, kind of understand where they're coming from. You can think Dexter, you can think Norman Bates, you can think Christian Bale's performance in American Psycho. I think you can add Josh Harnett's performance as Cooper in this film to that great list of serial killer or bad people who you enjoy watching. Despite him, being a serial killer, he's doing these bad things. Josh Harnett gives such a charismatic, likable performance, despite knowing he's a piece of crap. Harnett is fantastic as he struggles to play this character that's, on the surface trying to be endearing, cringy, and seemingly harmless dad that loves his child and bringing her to this concert. But throughout the film, you see him starting to crack. You see the real him, the person that he really is, and he's balancing all that while trying to find a way to escape this situation that seems unescapable, while also trying to make sure his daughter's dream concert's not ruined, also while trying to make sure that she doesn't figure out what's going on. His performance gets you immediately invested, and the girl that plays his daughter is really great and endearing, and you really feel for her in the situation. But I gotta say, M. Night's directing and production that he put on here really brings this movie alive. They spent the money to have like a live crowd. It feels like you're in an actual concert at the purview of the actual people in the attendance of the concert watching the Lady Raven, his daughter, in real life perform. And it's a really cool back and forth where we're enjoying the music and the concert and seeing everything that's going on while Cooper is scoping things out and seeing the little details throughout the film that's happening where he feels like they're closing in on him. And I brought up earlier the nepotism and the fact that this movie was made to start off his daughter Salika's career. She plays Lady Raven, the pop star in this film, and I gotta say, she's a really good singer and writer. A lot of the songs in here, I was like, oh, I actually like this. Is there a soundtrack out? And there actually is. And I was like, okay, maybe it was worth it because the concert parts are actually pretty fun. I can see why she amassed in universe a big crowd of people to come. It just made total sense because her voice was great. The songwriting didn't sound cringy, or sometimes you listen to a pop artist in a universe of a movie and the songs sound generic. It didn't sound like that in this film. It sounded like she was an actual artist. So definitely totally worth it. I think that she might have a future as a singer, and I really enjoyed the fact that it was so crowded. So you're seeing Cooper going through the masses of crowds. There's cops everywhere, there's cameras everywhere. He's trying to figure out how not to stand out while also doing all these things that he probably shouldn't be doing. It made the cat and mouse part of the film really exciting. And surprisingly, this movie is actually really funny. It's not a comedy or anything, but there's a bunch of dark humor spread throughout the film that really helps those moments that are not as intense, not as thrilling, to be entertaining. And I didn't expect that at all coming from this movie. I thought it was going to be played super serious and straight, but I think that the quirky, cringy, kind of dark humor that's sprinkled throughout helps alleviate that. So when your suspension of disbelief starts being stretched, you can rely back on the comedy. Let's talk about that suspension of disbelief. I think the third act of this film will make or break a lot of people's enjoyment of this movie. As you get further and further in the film, your suspension of disbelief is tested even more and more. And the biggest part of it is when M. Night's daughter, Salika, I think that's how you say her first name, who plays Lady Raven, goes from perform on the stage, where she was doing a great convincing job, where she gets more involved in the plot and the story. And while she's not the worst actress ever, definitely not, she's the weakest of the cast, and you can really see it in her performance here. She comes off very likable, but you can tell that this is probably her first time acting maybe, and sometimes it comes off a little amateurish. For me, it didn't break it for me because I felt like, okay, she's just a pop star in an impossible situation. But I do see a lot of people that's going to be like, okay, what? Like, some of these decisions are going to either excite you if you're totally dialed into what the movie's doing, but it might take you out if you're not, and you might think a lot of decisions towards the third act is completely stupid. But for me, the movie was funny, tense, goofy, and just entirely engaging throughout. I really had a great time with this film. I think it's going to be something that's rewatchable. I actually think it's one of my favorite movies of the year. Not top 10 probably, but definitely a movie that I came in with kind of low expectations and came out really, really excited, and definitely want to watch again with a big crowd, because I definitely do think this is a movie that is a great crime thriller that you can watch with friends and have a good time. My crowd was really engaging, laughing, making noises at certain decisions and everything like that, and it really made it a really fun experience. I do wish that M. Night kind of threw a curveball, a couple curveballs towards the end of the film to spice it up a little bit, but I have to say, with what we ended up with, I left the theater very, very satisfied. With that said, I'm gonna give Trap a B. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Trap if you saw it? Do you think M. Night Shyamalan is back after Knock at the Cabin was decent and I think this is great, or this is not your taste at all and you thought it was a piece of crap? Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the film, and like the video if you liked my review. Attack that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can notify my reviews, reactions, live discussions, and much, much more. You can watch more content right now.